Okay, let's get right into it. We're talking about this year's Nobel Prize in Medicine, and honestly, the story behind it is like a top-tier scientific detective novel. It's all about solving one of the biggest mysteries happening inside our own bodies. So here's the central puzzle. Your body has this incredibly powerful army of cells, right? It's on patrol 24/7, and its whole job is to seek and destroy invaders. But if it's so aggressive, what's the command that stops it from causing friendly fire and just attacking you?
Because, that's exactly what happens when that control system breaks down. We call it autoimmune disease. It's when your own immune system gets confused and starts attacking healthy parts of your body. It's a devastating problem that millions of people live with, and for decades, scientists were desperate to understand why it happens.
And that brings us to this year's Nobel. The prize honors 3 scientists who finally cracked the case. They're the ones who identified the immune system's very own peacekeepers, its internal security force. And today, we're going to walk through exactly how they did it.
But first, to really get why their work was so brilliant, we need to set the stage. Let's appreciate the incredibly high-stakes game that our immune system is playing every single second of every day.
I mean, think about it. The job is insanely difficult. Your immune system is fighting off literally thousands of different microbes. But here's the kicker. A lot of those invaders have evolved to wear camouflage. They're designed to look almost exactly like your own cells. It's like trying to find a spy who's a perfect double. So how on earth do you spot the bad guy?
All right, let's meet the first detective in our story, a scientist named Shimon Sakaguchi. This guy was chasing an idea that went against pretty much everything the experts thought they knew at the time.
See, back in the mid-90s, the common belief was pretty simple. Scientists figured the body just got rid of any rogue, self-attacking immune cells early on, inside an organ called the thymus. Basically, they thought the bad recruits were weeded out in boot camp before they ever joined the army. Case closed, right? Well, Sakaguchi wasn't so sure.
And he found the first huge piece of evidence that the story was way more complicated. He managed to isolate this mysterious group of immune cells that, well, they didn't attack anything. Instead, their job seemed to be to actively protect the body from its own immune system. He had found the security guards, but he had no clue who they were or how they got their orders.
And then, the trail went cold for a few years. That is, until 2 other scientists who were working on a totally separate problem just happened to stumble upon the next critical clue.
Okay, so meet Mary Brunko and Fred Ramsdell. They were not looking for protector cells. They were geneticists, and they were just trying to solve their own puzzle. Why was this one particular strain of lab mice getting incredibly sick with all these autoimmune diseases? Their search took them deep into the mice's DNA.
And their investigation zeroed in on a single culprit, one broken gene. They named it FOXP3, and they found that when this one gene was mutated, the immune system just went completely haywire. They also quickly connected it to a rare but terrible human autoimmune disease called IPEX. They had found a genetic master switch for keeping the immune system in check.
So let's just pause here, because this is the crucial moment. We now have 2 totally separate discoveries from 2 different labs. On one side, you've got Sakaguchi's mystery protector cells floating around. And on the other, you've got Brunko and Ramsdell's mystery gene, FOXP3, that acts like a master controller.
And then, in 2003, Shimon Sakaguchi connected the dots in this brilliant aha moment. He ran the experiments and proved that the FOXP3 gene, the one they found in those sick mice, was the exact master switch that creates and controls his mystery protector cells. The 2 clues weren't separate at all. They were 2 halves of the same solution.
And just like that, the mystery cells finally had a name and a mission. They're called regulatory T cells, or TREGs for short. These are the peacekeepers. Governed by that FOXP3 gene, their entire job is to patrol our bodies, find immune cells that are getting a little too aggressive, and tell them to stand down before they attack our own healthy tissue.
The case was officially solved, and the scientific community knew immediately how big this was. As the head of the Nobel Committee said, these discoveries were decisive. They didn't just tweak our understanding, they fundamentally changed it, explaining this beautiful, elegant system that keeps most of us from attacking ourselves.
But this wasn't just some academic victory, Solving the puzzle was amazing, but what came next is even better. This discovery kicked open the door to a whole new era in medicine, with real-world applications that are already starting to change lives. What this did was launch an entire field of medicine called peripheral tolerance. It's a fancy name, but the idea is simple. It's all about learning how to manage the immune system out in the field, in the body's tissues, and it's focused almost entirely on manipulating these regulatory T cells to treat disease.
And the possibilities here are just mind-blowing. For autoimmune diseases, what if you could boost the number of these peacekeeper cells? For cancer, where tumors actually trick these cells into protecting them, what if you could suppress them just around the tumor, letting your immune system attack? And for organ transplants, you could use them to convince the body to accept a new organ instead of rejecting it.
And here's the best part. This isn't science fiction. This isn't something that's decades away. These revolutionary ideas are actively moving out of the lab and into clinical trials with real patients, right now. The work that started with one scientist's hunch is now on the verge of becoming real medicine.
And that really leaves us with this final, amazing thought. By finding these peacekeepers,